Howdy Earthlings, as you might already know if you saw my Spinette video, there is a new update for Dolly's Factory that added new playable characters Spinette and Maestro. I was going to talk about just the plushies, but as I was getting more gameplay of them, I realized that this update is a perfect encapsulation of why I prefer Dolly's Factory to Dandy's World. I'm not going to flat out say that I think one is better than the other. I think one of the worst things we can do is directly compare them. All the likenesses they have are incredibly surface level and people get a little annoyed with me when I get hyperbolic. I get excited easily, and I state my opinions like they're facts sometimes, when they're really just personal opinions. This video is going to be a lot of personal opinions. Before I start, people have complained about my comparisons of the two games. We shouldn't be comparing them. Game devs in general don't like their games being compared to other games, but there's a few things that factor in my decisions to talk about them like this. One, to show that same point, that they are wholly unlike each other. Two, YouTube's recommendation algorithm will show the video to more people if I mention the more popular game. Three, players are going to make these comparisons naturally on their own regardless of what anyone wants or thinks. I think it's better if I provide more context as someone who has played both quite a bit instead of letting surface level opinions control the conversation. I agree with you, and I don't like doing it, but that's how YouTube works, unfortunately. I watch a lot of YouTube, and all video genres have to do this to some extent. Like Dungeons & Dragons YouTubers can't talk about a new game without having to mention D&D in the title, or no one will watch it. Gaming YouTubers can't talk about monster collecting games without mentioning Pokemon, otherwise the video won't get seen. You need to mention the more popular thing as it provides a frame of reference for people who are familiar with that they can work off of. It gives the viewer a sense of familiarity and understanding, even if they aren't that alike. These kinds of titles are an analogy and help the viewer. It's equal parts YouTube's algorithm and viewers' viewing habits. While I don't like it, and some of you don't like it, it's a necessary evil of the platform. As silly as it sounds, if I made a video mentioning a top 5 list or something, I'd still title it something like, the 5 games I play when I'm bored of Dandy's World. As you can see in this A/B test, people watch my video longer when the title and thumbnail compares them, which means YouTube promotes it more. I make versions without the comparison, but the audience doesn't click them. Sorry, but it's not a me problem. It has to do with viewer habits. Anyway, if you play the two games and you don't give Dolly's much of a shot, you're likely going to think it's just a Dandy's World clone. Another game trying to make a quick buck, but I'm here to tell you as someone who plays both, this is a very seriously surface level take. I've discussed the differences at length before in a prior video, so I'm only going to talk about the update. But I've talked to Freya, the lead dev, a little bit, and from what I've experienced, I can tell you that the team behind Dolly's has a completely different design philosophy from the Dandy's team. I've said it a few times now, but I think Blush Crunch is afraid to give players too much power. That the most exciting tune in the past year is a marginally faster extractor. It's kinda sad. In a game with so many characters to play, Dandy's has a lot of useless characters or characters that are direct upgrades from others. Also, all the mains are essentially done except for future holiday tunes, so the power level of the game won't get much higher than this. While Squirm's design and ability is interesting at its core, Squirm is just a slightly faster extractor and does nothing to change the core gameplay. If mains are where the power level is capping, then we have years of stagnation ahead of us. I still like Dandy's. For the time being, it's the more challenging game, when a distractor isn't around at least. Dolly's, on the other hand, is a game that is on the move and is growing in directions others in the genre aren't. They're doing new stuff the other games won't or can't do. Based on what's planned, this isn't going to stop being the case, ever. Dandy's has plateaued for now, but Dolly's hasn't even hit its peak yet, and it's already a more compelling gameplay experience. Let's start with the new characters. In Dolly's, there are characters who are better than the rest, but each character is very viable in their own right. In Dandy's, Brightney is just a worse V, Poppy is a worse Louie, Brusha and Scraps are just useless, so on and so forth. Dolly's doesn't have this problem. Each plushie is unique and none of their abilities step on the others. The worst is probably Cinnabon, but I'd still say you could come up with a good reason to play her instead of another plushie. But the new plushies, Spinette and Maestro, are definitely huge in different moves and gameplay styles from the other plushies, without immediately cementing themselves as the best. It's not power creep, it's more of a lateral move. Spinette on paper is a pretty underwhelming plushie. She has a high value in stealth and a 4 in most other stats, but her ability allows her to manage a bunch of jobs under a single webby umbrella. It's easy to say she Scraps but better or more fun, but I honestly think her ability puts her so high above Scraps that they can't actually be compared. Scraps' range is very short and she can only zip to players and machines. If something has a physical presence, Spin can zip to it from 10 times the distance or more. She can even zip to a doorway which doesn't actually have a physical presence, but what she does when she arrives to the object depends on the individual object. When she hits a player, they get a shield. Items are picked up. Stuffing piles are picked up instantly and ignore the timer to grab them. Bad guys are stunned, and machines on higher floors can be zipped to directly, ignoring the ramps and lifts normally needed to access them. She's not Scraps but better. She's infinitely more useful than just a Scraps who could zip from far away. This is what I mean by Dolly's devs aren't afraid to let you feel powerful. These are just different game design philosophies though. What's considered fun in Dolly's is different than Dandy's. A lot of people who like Dandy's don't even like it as a game. I've seen multiple posts on the Reddit where players ask if it's okay to like the universe but not the game. I get getting sucked into the lore. This channel used to be entirely about lore, writing, and art, but at the end of the day, it's a game and its success is tied to how fun it is to play. The other character is Maestro, who is a jester who gets faster repair speed on the machines the longer they're on the machine. It reaches a cap, then when they get off the machine, the bonus speed degrades over time. This makes Maestro an excellent pick for working on not just the tough golden machines that take longer to fix, but rooms with multiple broken machines since the buff carries over. They also have a speed buff that works on the team globally. If there is a range to this ability, I have no idea what it is. It's that far, but it works on all teammates. Imagine if Tisha could buff everyone's speed regardless of their location on the map. As for Maestro's repair passive, I can't even compare that to another toon. Yeah, we can also say that Dandy's character design is better, but that's a gap that's closing rapidly. Like Jinx and Zoro should straight up fire their barber. But you can't say Maestro and Spinette are badly designed. These are incredibly interesting, fun, and compelling designs. Maestro's especially is main character behavior, honestly. They could call it Maestro's factory. These two are such a level up in design quality that some other prior plushies might need a visual update to catch up with this shift in graphical style. Blush Crunch's fixes also tend to focus on releasing a toon that does the thing that would be the fix. Rather than globally improving the toons with the mechanic they should all have, it's used as a new toon design. This prevents the game from getting better for the average player and instead leaves players with choosing what aspect of the game they want to function better. Like Poppy should be reworked and her ability should be a thing all toons should do. I get it though. Sometimes it's easier to do a toon-shaped band-aid rather than redo a bad existing character you intended to be temporary. But Dolly's doesn't view their characters as temporary or stepping stones. Dandy's also tries to create niches that don't exist, like with Brusha. Dolly's leans more on the side of improving the game in general, with plushies being there for a fun enhancement rather than as fixes. I trust that if a character got so bad to play, that they'd make them significantly better, even entirely axing abilities if necessary. This stuff is what I mean when I say Dolly's design philosophy is entirely different. These are two very different games, so while I personally may confidently say I think one is superior to the other, it's not that simple, as Dolly's is very easy and many may want a challenge. But Dolly's being easy is also only a temporary problem. I wouldn't be surprised if they added a hard mode in the future. This is semi-related too, but I've already given numerous suggestions for the game, and Freya said that pretty much everything I've suggested is something that they've considered. So I feel like Dolly's is just better attuned to my personal tastes for this kind of game. I don't mind that Dolly's is easier because the gameplay and characters are more fun to me. Now, if that doesn't convince you how different these two games are, let me show you Maestro's boss floor. Boss floors in general are something we don't see Dandy's World do, or any other game that is like Dandy's World or clones of Dandy's World. Twisted are selected via an algorithm which saves Blush Crunch time on designing encounters. Forever Studio does this as well, but additionally adds a boss floor every 5 floors. These shift the gameplay dramatically. The boss floors in Doug's special floor, by extension, inject that bit of variety that Dandy's has been in need of for a long time. Doug's floor, for example, has us collecting train parts to repair the train. Jelly Bell's floor has us activating electrical pylons, and halfway through, Jelly Bell makes her tentacles pop out of the floor to strike you and makes the water level rise in the center to slow you down. Coda punches really hard, but his stage features walls that work as cover in the first half but are destructible by Coda in the second half. Finally, Maestro's floor is like a mini version of a Final Fantasy XIV raid boss. He's massive. He's voice acted. You heard me right. Voice acted. And it's great voice acting too. Okay. Maestro will attack by highlighting zones, then striking. If you get hit, it hurts, but you have plenty of time to move and react. Spinettes are also on this stage, and they'll not just roam and hit you, but sometimes they'll come down from the ceiling to hit you while you're doing machines. Maestro's boss floor isn't just a boss floor, it's practically a boss fight. This is what I mean by Forever isn't just doing things to set itself apart from Dandy's World. They're their own game, and no other game in this genre is doing big moves like this. Every time I say this is a Roblox game, I'm shocked because this is just beyond what I've seen in most Roblox games, let alone this genre. Forever Studio is a powerhouse of a dev team, and I can promise you, if they ever move outside of the Roblox ecosystem, I'll still be following their projects closely. I can attribute this to one thing. I suspect that this team plays a lot more than just Roblox. I've been gaming for 26 years now, and the design choices they make are things I think experienced designers or gamers would do. Every suggestion I made are things that they're planning, and that also makes me suspect that they're big gamers outside of development. That might not seem like a big deal, but playing games will make you a better developer. You learn what works and doesn't from a player's standpoint. Dolly's is a game made by gamers for gamers, something the game industry outside of Roblox lacks too. In short, they know what it's like to be a player and the developer at the same time, which leads to a better game being made. They're a team that's passionate about designing this game, and it's very visible in their design along with their love of games in general. Dandy's World has that same passion too, just it's utilized in a different way. But you can't look at Maestro's floor or design and tell me they didn't have fun making it. So yes, I think Dolly's factory is better, but I think comparing the two is a bit like apples and oranges, as they're in completely different leagues. Dandy's design is just more in tune with what's expected from the platform, and has the seniority advantage in simplified gameplay. But with each update, Dolly's is setting itself apart, and one day everyone will be playing catch up to them. Dolly's isn't a simple clone. Dolly's is defining a genre. Thanks for watching, and thanks to the supporters on Patreon and members on YouTube like Gezro, Am, Nebazi, Aspirin Artist, Paper, Faye Penguin, Momentary Unicorn, Nat, Marius, Yini, Worm Syrup, Rask, Beef, Colorado Blue, Vaderson, Linky, Addy14, The Ace of Raccoons, Blackjack, Rask again, Willie Pete, TG Dante, Linky again, Astro Pixie YT, and Malding Brick. I'll see y'all later. I need to play Maestro a bunch before I can make a guide about them, and also tonight's my Magic the Gathering night, so it's gonna be busy. I got a lot of juggling to do. Bye!